Hi, this is Melisha from Really Affordable SEO. Today I'm going to show you how to use Google Analytics to look at your audience. First, you're going to open a window and go to analytics.google.com. If I've set your analytics up for you, this is the screen that you're going to see. I am using the Google Merchandise Store master view. This is not one of my clients. This is just a good way to show you without showing any of my clients' data. So what I like to do when I want to look at an audience is I will change the date to be, let's say, from the beginning of the year, just to give a good chunk of time there. And what you're going to do now is look on the left-hand side of the bar, and you'll see this tab here. It's called Audience. It's typically closed like this. You click on Audience, and you can get an overview. And here you're just going to see an overview for your whole site, including sessions, the users, what languages they speak. So this is a good place to say, okay, so these people speak English, but wow, I have a lot of people coming from Spain and France and Germany. This might be an opportunity that you think about potentially translating some of the pages on your website into different languages so you can get even more visitors. Here you can see different things like which countries they're coming from, which cities. So let's look in here. Here you see they have a lot of visitors from United States, India, the UK, Canada, Germany, etc. You can even go down to the whole city and you can say, oh, Mountain View, New York, San Francisco, Sunnyvale, London. These are different cities where your customers live. So if you wanted to, you could view a full report, figure out where your customers are coming from. For e-commerce outlets, this is really great because you can figure out where people live in, say, relation to the stores that you have and people who are shopping online versus going into your store. If you go to the left-hand side, this is where you can do some pretty cool reports. Demographics is going to show you everything from age of your customers. This can help you when you're trying to figure out your target market or your advertising sweet spot. For Google Merchandise Store, they're clearly getting a lot of people in the 25-34 market and a lot in the 18 to 24 market, so they might want to skew their language a little bit younger. You can look at the gender of your visitors, and you see a lot more males are coming to the site than females, so they might want to skew their advertising toward younger males. Here's interests. This is very interesting. You can see different things from the things that they love online, which is crazy. So a lot of people who come to the Google Merchandise Store are technophiles, of course. A lot of them are movie lovers. So if you're thinking about like advertising, you could maybe put a movie quote in an ad and maybe that would connect with some of your viewers. Or a lot of them are TV lovers and they like to do photography. So you can always think about advertising in those terms to connect with your audience. So younger male men who really like techno stuff, movies, and TV. Next we have in-market segments. These are temporary sort of things to look at. Your customers, for example, right now might be looking for a job, but they aren't necessarily always looking for a job. They may be looking to travel somewhere. They may be looking at financial services, travel, air travel. So think of these as temporary things that your customers are interested in. But it is interesting just to see how you can tie your services in with these different segmentations. Just going to do a couple more things. Let's look at technology. Here you can see what browser and operating system your customers are on. So, for example, for Google, it makes sense that most people are using Chrome. The next is Safari, Firefox. This matters to someone because if you have designed your website and it only works in Firefox and it doesn't work in Safari and Chrome, that's going to be a big problem for your users. So you just want to make sure that when you're designing and you're making changes that it works in all of these different browsers. But if you have to focus on only some, maybe focus on the top 5. Next is network. What sort of communication services or cable or internet services are people using to access your website? This is like really good information to have. Next, mobile overview. How many of my visitors are visiting my website on mobile versus desktop versus a tablet? Here you can see majority of the users are desktop users, but mobile is growing. It's a growing market. So you just want to make sure that your website is what you call responsive in design. So people can view your website on a desktop and on mobile and on tablet. And you can also look at, for example, these bounce rates. So on desktop, your bounce rate is almost 9% lower than on your mobile. So this could show you that maybe the mobile design is not as attractive as the desktop design. And you may want to look into that to see if you can redesign it and perhaps bring this bounce rate down. Finally, we're going to look at devices. And this is how you know how people are getting to your website. Why is this important? Think about if you were going to develop an app for your website. Um, do you want to make it iPhone and Android compatible, or do you want to just go for iPhone right now? It seems that if you were going to test an app, doing it for the iPhone would be your best bet, and that if it worked out, then you could maybe make it more Android friendly. Of course, if you have the budget immediately, it's nice to do both, but if you only have so much money, this is a good way to figure it out. So this is going to conclude our lesson on your audience in Google Analytics. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thanks.